Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. This is your host, Trip, from tripadvice.com. Now, if you're listening to this right now, that means you are curious on how to get your ex-girlfriend back. Well, I actually put out a video on YouTube about this, but I've gotten so much great feedback on it. It really goes over a lot of in-depth topics. It goes even deeper than our ex-girlfriend, but even how to make life changes. And I thought I want to share this with the guys like you who listen to the podcast who maybe don't check out all of my YouTube videos. I do put out like 3 videos a week at this point. So I wanted to take that and I wanted to put it in podcast form so you can listen to it and learn from it, because I know that trying to get your ex-girlfriend back is something that you probably want to learn. There's a lot of guys out there who are trying to figure that out, and I have the answers here. So in just a second, you're going to be listening to that. Now, before I get into that, I want to let you know I do have a new program called Hooked at getherhooked.com, and this program is all about, like it says, getting girls hooked on you. So if you're ready to either get your ex-girlfriend hooked on you, or you're ready to move on from her and be able to get another woman hooked on you, obsessed with you, so you don't have to go through a breakup. In fact, so you get to the point where you're the one breaking up with her and it's your choice and not the other way around, then I suggest that you check this out, because this is my ultimate step-by-step system, jam-packed with techniques to get girls interested in you. And don't worry, you don't have to change who you are. You know I'm all about doing this naturally, authentically, and this is the system that teaches you how to do that. So go check that out at getherhooked.com. And for now, you can check out and learn how to get your ex-girlfriend back. So here it is.
So let's talk about how to get your ex back. Very first, most important thing that I want to go over is why. That's the big question. If you ever, by the way, if you ever start a business or you have an idea of something that you want to do in this world, you know, they always say, well, the first thing that you should be answering is the question of why. Why do you want to do this? Why is that something you want to do? Why is that something you want to start? And I think that that spans across really everything in your life. You know, why? You got to answer that question for everything you're doing. So that's what I want to ask here. Why? Why do you want to get your ex back? Why is that something you want to do? And you might answer in a lot of different ways. You know, because I love her, because we had such amazing times together, because she is, you know, the only girl for me, because she is my soulmate, right? All of these different reasons of why we want to get our ex back. And I rarely have ever really heard a very good answer here in terms of why someone wants to do it. I've rarely heard anything good. Mainly, a lot of people want their ex back out of desperation, right? So usually in this case, it's, you know, it's a situation where they've been dumped, right? Something happened in the relationship and the girl just flat out dumped them and it's over. So this begs my first question to you, right? You're saying why you want her back. I gotta ask you this. Why would you want someone who breaks up with you and doesn't want to be with you? That's what I want to know. Why? Why is that the case? Why do you want to be with someone who says that they don't want to be with you? Again, I think it's because a guy doesn't have what I like to call the abundant mindset. And this is something that I've talked about on many Facebook Lives, and I've talked about this on my YouTube channel as well. And it's something that's, I'm not gonna lie, it's very difficult to really understand. And it's a difficult mindset to really tap into. I get it. Even myself, I would like to think I have an abundant mindset, and at this point in my life, I believe I do, but still, it messes with you a little bit. So okay, what's an abundant mindset? And by the way, if every guy had an abundant mindset, by gosh, this would, I don't even know if I'd have a job at this point, okay? Because I think a lot of guys, because they don't have an abundant mindset, have a lot of issues with dating. And this abundant mindset I'm talking about is really understanding that there is an abundance for you in all areas of your life, by the way. I'm not just talking about in dating and with women. I even believe that with money, right? With starting a business and competition. There's just an abundance everywhere around you. But okay, again, we're talking about here, we're talking about women specifically. So yeah, you know, there's the old adage, plenty of fish in the sea, right? So I guess that would be a similar idea here, but people don't really understand that. So that's one of the reasons why guys want to get their ex back, is because they don't really believe that there's someone else out there for them, you know? And it's tough because you get really sucked in. You get sucked in to this idea of this person. And listen, everyone is unique. Everyone is very unique. And no, you're not going to have a person like that person. No, it's not going to be the same relationship. No, you're not going to meet someone obviously that even looks like that person. Well, maybe similar, but either way, no, you cannot have that person again. And I understand that that's where the pain stems from, but there are so many other unique souls out there for you to have a connection with. And I understand that, you know, you hearing this right now is not even going to really penetrate so far, because if you're watching this, you're probably in a lot of pain from the girl that broke up with you. I understand that, but just trust me, when you finally meet someone else, you finally meet another amazing woman, you're almost gonna sit back and chuckle a little bit, just a little bit. You know, you still might be always sad from your past breakups, but you're gonna laugh a little bit and think, wow, I can't believe, you know, I thought that was it for me. Like that was it. Like that was the only person for me, right? And that even brings me to this idea of the soulmate myth. I believe that the idea of a soulmate is a myth. Really, it is. Now, I should say this. Do I believe it is very difficult to make a strong connection, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional connection with someone? Yes, it is. It is. As much as there's an abundance of women out there, you can't make these connections with everyone. And some people you make some connections with and others you don't. You know, and in some cases, you know, maybe like you don't have a good sex life with the girl, but you guys have such a deep emotional connection, or vice versa even. I do believe it is very difficult to find a woman that you have so many different connections with. However, I don't believe in the soulmate. And I'll explain a little bit more why. You see, with this idea of abundance, I believe there are many people that you can have a connection with. And I've seen it time and time again of people who have been through divorces, who have been through terrible breakups. I've been through terrible breakups myself, and you still end up finding someone that's really amazing. No, I understand they're not the same person. They're not the same person as the person you were once dating. But there's something beautiful in that. There's something beautiful in that. You know, I believe in this idea of impermanence, and this is something I'll let me finish that thought, of impermanence being a beautiful thing. And this is deep. We're gonna get real deep right now, and I know that this is something that I've been working on myself, this idea of the beauty of impermanence. So what do I mean? I mean things not being permanent and being okay with that. On a very, very deep level, being okay with the fact that one day, you know, you won't be here on this earth. That's on the far end of things, right? A little bit less than that is maybe the idea of being okay with that, the woman that you were with and the breakup that you went through, being like, you know what, that was a beautiful thing. And it didn't last forever, and you might want it to last forever, but be grateful for the beautiful moments of life that you shared with your ex. You know, we can give even other examples. You know, I personally get a little bit emotional when I get into routine, or I'm somewhere physical, like I'm in a new location, and then I leave, right? It's like you kind of get used to maybe that location that you were in, and then you move, or you even move apartments in a new city, and you get a little bit of a sadness inside of you because something kind of died, right? This moment died in your life, meaning it doesn't exist anymore. You're not going to stay at that same place. You're not going to, again, on the deeper level, you're not going to maybe be with that woman, and something inside kind of dies. And with that, I try to find the beauty of it. So back to the whole idea of getting your ex back or wanting your ex back, I want you to try to find and be grateful. I want you to try to find the gratitude in the situation of the person that you were with, and say, you know what, it was beautiful for what it was. And, you know, maybe it was a really bad breakup. Maybe you guys fought and there was cheating and there was just a lot of disrespect and a lot of fighting, maybe still you can be grateful for the times that you shared with that person that were great, and maybe even be grateful for all the fights that you had, because then you know that this is not a woman that you want to be with because the relationship was so terrible. So again, I'm going to wrap up this idea in this section here of why you would want her back, okay? And the idea of the soulmate myth, meaning let's be grateful for the shared experience. Let's feel good about what was, and just know that there's still an opportunity, millions of opportunities for you to be with another woman and share another beautiful connection. And then maybe it doesn't work out with her, and then you get into another relationship, and then maybe you get into somewhere else. You know, I've been in multiple relationships before, and I encourage guys, if that's what you want, if you're looking for a girlfriend or you're looking for a wife, I really encourage you to get into a lot of different relationships. You know, I know a lot of people who, all ages, who have, you know, gotten into one relationship, have been into one relationship their whole life. God bless them, really, that they made that work and now they're married. But I also think that we only have so much time on this earth, and we should experience multiple people and multiple relationships. But more importantly, you should be experiencing multiple relationships because you grow a lot. You grow a lot. You learn so much. You learn so much about people. You learn so much about interactions. You learn so much about yourself and how you act in different relationships. And there's so much growth that comes from the pain. So right now you're watching this, you want to get your ex back, you're in so much pain, but I want you to look towards the idea of growth. What can you learn from this? Where can this go right in your life, as hard as it is right now? So there you go. That's just some ideas there. Now, of course, we're not done, because I know we're talking about getting your ex back, right? And we'll talk about that. But I want to bring up this idea of why. Is this something that you really want to do? Is this something that is that important to you? That important to you that you really need to go through the process that I'm about to share with you, which I think is really the best process there is in terms of trying to get your ex back. But is this something you really want to do? I don't want you to just be like, yeah, I want to get my ex back. What are the steps? Give me the steps, what to do. Think about it. This is something that's really important to you. You know, sometimes relationships, they just run their course. That's it. They run their course. Like I said, you know, being grateful for what was. I even have a quote here that I wrote down in my notes from Neil Strauss. You might know him, famous author of The Game. He also wrote a book called The Truth, which is an excellent book, by the way. I highly recommend you get it, because that dives into a lot with relationships and the relationship with yourself. And also, he was polyamorous for a while, trying out new different types of relationships. So if that's something you're interested in, well, even if you're not, you should definitely read this book. It's called The Truth. And he has a quote, and the quote is, now I don't remember if he was quoting someone else or whatever it was, but this is the quote in the book. Relationships are measured by their depth and not by their length. I'll say it again. Relationships are measured by their depth, not their length. And I always thought that was very beautiful. I really like that. You know, you get into relationships, and some are a month long. Some are 2 years long. Some are 30 years long. Maybe even 50 years. And time is very interesting, because you could be in a relationship for 30 years, but for half of that time, you never even connected with your partner. Now, I don't know that. I've never been in a relationship for 30 years, but I've talked to many divorcees, and they've told me how they were emotionally checked out for many years. So, it almost begs the question, how can a relationship be really measured by its length? It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship for 2 months or 30 years. What really matters is the depth of the relationship, the deeper meaning of the relationship, the connections, the moments that you had together that had meaning behind it. It's those that you really think about, and then those that you can be grateful for. You know, a lot of people are in really terrible relationships for many years, and they stick by it, and finally it ends. They've been in a relationship for maybe 10 years. 50% or 75% of that whole time, it was a mess. But they stayed in because they're like, you know what, I'm in it for this long. And by the way, don't let me, I'm not trying to say to you that, you shouldn't try to work hard at your relationship. I'm not going that route where it's like you should, you should just give up so easy. But I still think that you need to really be measuring the relationship by how deep the connection is with your partner and how you guys work together versus looking at, well, we've been together for this long. So I hope that makes sense. So now let's go into talking about what you need to be doing to actually get your ex back. Well, there's a little process that I want every guy to go through, and I believe that this is the ultimate way to do this. Because when it comes to getting your ex back, there's no tricks, there's no games, there's no little text messages that you can send that's going to convince her that you're the ultimate guy for her. That stuff doesn't work. None of that stuff works. What matters is this idea of reconnecting her. So I'll reconnecting with her. So I'll get to this idea. First, you have to understand when there is a breakup, right? When you get broken up with, and you go through that whole process, what ends up happening is you sort of view the person in a different way. You view them in a different light, so to speak. And so with this idea, I want to separate you and your ex for a substantial part of time, okay? For a substantial amount of time. And this is going to help reconnect you and her. Because right now, she's in the mindset, maybe even you're in the mindset that this isn't working out, and you're kind of in this circular thinking, being that this is not the person that's going to be right for me, and this isn't working out, and we fight, and you're just going in circles and circles about why this relationship isn't really working, and it will, and it won't, it will, and fighting, and this and that. And so what needs to happen is separation in order to form a reconnection, okay? So really, if we're going to do this by steps here, step one is to give your ex distance. You basically need to give her time to miss you, and you need to give her time to think. You need to give time for her to really work out the things in her head. See, what happens is a lot of guys, they'll be very desperate. Calling every day, texting every day, even stalking her, going on Facebook, doing all these things that are just leading to the guy being more and more unattractive, more desperate, more needy. So really, as much as you think you're helping by trying to reconnect with her and contact her so much, it's doing the exact opposite. It's like a magnet on the same polar ends, right? Pushing away. That's what's happening. You're pushing yourself away. You're trying so hard at just pushing you further and further away. So you need to give space, and you need to give a lot of it. So when I say space, I mean you need to stop contacting your ex. You need to stop texting your ex. You need to stop looking at her on Facebook. You need to stop looking at her on Instagram. It's even beyond trying to reach out to her. You need to get her out of your mind. The more and more and more and more that you try to see what she's up to, and she would see what she's doing, and checking in with her, and doing all the lovely things that social media has unfortunately allowed us to do for breakups, you are making this harder on yourself. You're making this worse on yourself. And you're also making it worse for the chances of you getting back together with her. So you need to do what the hardest thing is, and you need to break contact. You can even tell her that if you want to. I mean, you can do one of two things. You can just stop contacting her, or you can text her or say to her in person, listen, I'm going to give you some space. I need space as well, right? Make sure that you're not just saying it so it's for her. You're doing it for you too, and that's very important. So you're saying to her, I need some space. I want to give you space. I don't think that it's going to be healthy for us to continue talking on this level and keep on fighting or keep on going through whatever it is that you guys are going through. So this is my point where you guys are going to be completely and utterly separated from each other. Yes, it's fucking hard. It's It's really, really hard. It's going to kill you. It's going to rip you up inside. You're gonna feel these bouts of loneliness that are so all-encompassing that you're gonna feel like you're never gonna be okay. And I bet you, if you're still watching this video, that you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm probably reading your mind right now because I understand, I've been through it, right? So you go through this dreadful, painful time, but the sooner you do this, the better. Why? Because it's inevitable. It's almost inevitable that you're going to have this period where it's going to hurt so bad. So you can either have it now or you can delay it for later. And I think that we need to do the former, which is getting you to do this as soon as humanly possible. So that's what we're doing. We're getting you to separate from your ex. You're going to let her know that, and you guys are going to be completely away from each other. Now, you might be thinking, well, Trip, how long do I do this for? What's the magical time? Is it a month? Is it a couple days? Is it a year? How long is it? Well, I'll say this. It's hard to say. You know, it's hard to say. I can't give you an exact amount of time. It's going to be different for everyone. But for the sake of this, I'll say we want to do at least a month. At least a solid 4 weeks of no communication, no social media, nothing of that sort. Okay, that's a really good time. A good 4 weeks, 30 days, whatever you want to call it. So with this time, what are you going to be doing? Well, this is going to be the most important part of this entire process, so listen up. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be focusing all on you. All on you. I don't want you dating anyone. I don't want you even learning much about dating advice. I don't want you thinking too much about other girls. Now, in past videos, I've said this before. I've said one of the best ways to get over a girl is to hop on and start meeting other girls. I do want you to do that, but not yet. We're not ready for that yet. I need a little bit of time for you to be okay with being with yourself, because right now you're so caught up in you being attached to that other person. So your identity has shifted now, right? Your old identity was you and that girl together. There was almost this invisible connection, like this invisible string that was always attaching you to that girl, you know, whether you guys lived together or not. Even if you didn't, you had that invisible string. There was always that girl there. She was always there on the phone. She was always there, you know, in your mind. You're always kind of invisibly connected to her. And now that string is broken. So now it's time for you to start being okay with being alone. Okay, so I want that for you. Now, the time that happens, I want that to be at least a couple weeks in this period. Because yes, I do eventually want you to start talking to other girls. However, I don't want you to really go all into dating too much, because you're just going to be filling this emptiness hole with another girl who is going to be, in a weird way, representing your ex. And we don't want that. I don't want that for you, okay? So first we want to deal with being alone, being okay with being alone. And this is going to be you keeping busy, because I know how hard it is to do this and be alone. So you want to keep busy. You want to start new hobbies. You want to start hanging out with friends. You want to start making new friends, keeping yourself busy, learning more about you and how you can be a better version of yourself. So you're going to be doing that, keeping busy, talking to people, and at the same time, you know, yeah, you should be working on yourself, working on your personal growth, whether that's be, you know, reading some books or like I said, getting into new hobbies, things that make you feel more connected to you again. I think that's going to be really super key here. Okay, so now we're going through this whole process where we're diving into reconnecting to yourself. You've separated from your ex. Now we can get to the point where, you know what, let's start talking to girls again. But I don't want it to be to start finding a girlfriend and to start sleeping with girls right away. I just want to open you up to the idea that there are some girls out there that you can talk to and you can flirt with and have a good time with and have some good interactions with, that can slowly let you start thinking about the possibility that, hey, there is someone else that I can connect with, and it's not just my ex. Even though she broke up with you and broke your heart and all those things, and she was the one and she was the soulmate, this is going to be for you to really understand that it's possible for you to connect with other girls. So that's what I want you to do. And I want you to now start learning the skills of attraction. So let's say we're breaking this up into a 4-week process. The first week, you're kind of spending time alone. I should say you're spending time with yourself, but of course you can still also be doing hobbies and meeting with other people, but you're reconnecting to yourself. And then maybe week 3, at that point, you can start talking to more girls again. And then by week 3, week 4, I even want you to start getting back into dating advice and learning how you can start building attraction with other girls, okay? Now, why do I want you to do this is because I'm really secretly, this is what I'm doing here, I'm gonna give up my secret. I'm secretly trying to get you to the point where you're gonna have the skills to start meeting other women. Okay? Because secretly, I don't want you to get back with your ex. That's right, I don't. As much as I'm giving you this advice and giving you the ideas, because if you want to do that, you're going to do it. There's nothing I can do. But I want to encourage you to meet other women. So during this time, right, during the last parts of this 1-month period, you can start learning the skills to be dating and meeting more girls. Now again, maybe you're not ready for that yet, and that's okay. Maybe you need like 6 weeks or another 4 weeks on top of the first 4 weeks to start doing that. But get into the mindset of being able to start attracting more girls and at the same time still working on your personal growth and doing the things on your own. So hopefully during this time, hopefully, you've shown yourself that you don't need to get back together with your ex. Why? Because you've had that distance and because you have learned that there are other girls out there that you can meet. However, if you still want to try to get back together with her, and again, that's your choice, you can. And that is going to be finally you reconnecting with her. Now that you've had separate time, the idea here is you can take all the information that you learned about attracting women and you reconnect her as if it's a whole new girl. Yes, you have a history with her. Yes, there are lots of memories. It's not going to be completely fresh, like this is a completely new girl. However, because you guys have had so much time apart, you will be reconnecting in a new way, and you can start by re-attracting her, getting her interested once again from the things that you've been learning the past couple weeks, right? Like I said in the beginning, don't do so much dating advice learning, but towards the end and towards the end of the period in which you're ready to reconnect with her, start learning that stuff again. Get back together with her in a sense where you can ask her to coffee, see how she's doing, and she might not be ready yet. And let me tell you this, if she's not ready yet and it's been a month, 2 months, I beg of you, that's the end of it. I wouldn't try to get back together at that point. If all that distance that's been created between you two, still it doesn't create an intrigue by any means to reconnect with you and just get a coffee together at the very least, then I think that she's not going to be interested. She still needs more time, and I don't want you to waste your time waiting any longer to try to get back with someone where, like I said earlier, where it ran its course and it's just over and it's done with. And there's going to be a little bit of pain, and you might have to go through a little mini version of what you just went through with, it's like almost like a new breakup, but that's going to be the gamble of trying to reconnect with her again, which is why I'm really, again, trying to encourage you that you shouldn't be trying to get back together with her. You should be really doing all these things that I said to recreate a new life for yourself. When a girl breaks up with you, it's sad, it's depressing, it's painful, but it's a beautiful opportunity to reconnect and build this new life for yourself where you're going to be happier. You're going to be happier than you ever thought you would before. You're going to be happier being more, I should say, just in a new place where the scars have healed and you're a little bit stronger. You don't understand this now. I get it. It's hard for me to even communicate this to you because you're watching this and you're trying to get your ex back and there's so much pain. But just trust in the process that when you heal from that breakup, you feel amazing. you feel amazing because you've hit such rock bottom that anywhere from rock bottom, anywhere upwards from there feels great. You feel strong, you feel courageous. It's pretty incredible what happens. So, like I said, not only be grateful for the relationship, but express gratitude for this new opportunity, because in our life, we don't get many opportunities like this to really grow. In order to have the opportunities to grow, a lot of shit has to happen. Bad things have to happen. Now, not always, but you really grow a lot and feel amazing and become such a better person when you do hit some of these rock bottom type scenarios. So, okay, so let's rewind just a little bit. So we went through the process, you try to reconnect with her. Let's say she is interested in having coffee with you. Okay, great. You get coffee, you get a drink, you hang out with her. I want her to see this new version of you, okay? I want her to be reconnecting with this guy who just became stronger because he reconnected with himself. He's got a busy life. He's doing all kinds of things. He hasn't been wallowing for the past couple months. He's not coming back to her saying like, I've missed you, I want you, I need you, right? He's back, and this is your mindset. You know, you're back in this moment with her where you're subtly expressing, I would like to try to see what happens if we reconnected on a deeper level here, meaning, I guess, to get back together with her. Almost like you're going in there with this mentality that, you know what, I would like to play with that idea, and I want to, but I don't need to. I don't need you back, but I'm interested in the idea of maybe us trying this again. That's your mindset. And that's a very powerful mindset to have. And I hope that this is not something that you have to fake. I hope this is true. I hope you're not just doing what I'm saying. I actually hope that this is a mindset that happens. Hopefully in the past month, 2 months, 3 months that you've been going through this growth process, you've kind of realized, I don't know if this is someone that I want back. You know, maybe, because we did have good times, maybe we can get through some of those struggles. So that's what you're even thinking here. You know what? Maybe there is room for us to get back together. But I don't want you to be in a desperate state where you're thinking, I need this girl, I need this to happen, everything's relying on this one coffee, this one time, this is my last chance, this is all I have. No. I want you to go back and I want you to be qualifying her. Is she someone that you want back? Is this something that you want to try again? Do you really want to go through this process again and perhaps go back to the part where you're like, oh no, like we got back together and then we're breaking up again? Do you even think, and I'm asking you this, do you even think that it's possible that you guys can get through some of your issues? A lot of guys don't think about that. They just want her back because it's like a love drug, right? It's like you miss having that person there, you miss having that love with that person that loved you and you feel so worthy with them. But is this someone that you really think you can reconnect with? And maybe you can be thinking about that on the coffee date when you guys are together, because you're going to be getting to know her again. But also you should be thinking about that through this entire process. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's what I have to say about getting your ex back. You know, let me just give a little recap here. First, we're talking about why you want to do this. Is this something you want to do? And whether that's a yes or a no, you're still going to go through the same process that I told you about reinventing, reconnecting to you, and then going through the steps of learning how to attract girls again, you know, playing with that, talking to more girls, really getting back into the idea of, hey, there are other girls that you can connect with. And then deciding, is this someone that I want to meet up with again? Is this someone that I want to try to get back? Hopefully it's no, because hopefully you've learned, or you've stepped into, I should say, the abundant mindset, right? So hopefully you get to that point where you don't need her again. But if you want to play with it, obviously that's your choice, and I wish you the best of luck.